What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Hope you're doing well, feeling great, and enjoying freedom. It's a great day to have a great day. Today, I wanted to talk about silver. What we have here on display, nice little display of coins, rounds, and bars of all different denominations. But I wanted to talk about and give a little bit of an update to a video that I posted 5 years ago titled 25 ounces of silver could save your life. Now, that number has now changed. The dollar bill's purchasing power has dramatically shifted. So I wanted to give a more realistic update to that video today. We're going to get into it, but really quick, just in case you're new, make sure to subscribe for a bunch of videos. Subscribe to my second channel for bonus videos. Follow me on social media at Mykie DYDSS across all platforms. And 3 very quick things before we get started. Number 1, if you haven't already, try you out some Celsius Energy. It's a healthier version of the other energy drinks out there. You can get a 12-pack variety pack on Amazon right now. I'll leave an affiliate link in the description. 2, if you haven't already started investing and you'd like to, make sure to download Webull and fund your account. They're going to give you some free stocks just for doing so, and they make it really easy for a new investor to start investing because the app is very simple to navigate on. Link down below. And of course, 3, and finally, if you need any stacking supplies, whether it be airtight tubes and capsules, anti-tarnish paper, microscopes, mini lock boxes, the list goes on, those will also be linked in the description for your convenience. Okay, so 25 ounces of silver could save your life is the title of the video that I want to give an update to today. If you don't know which video I'm talking about, it's the #1 most viewed video of all time on my channel. Here it is right here. Many of you probably have seen it by now. I posted it on July 29th, 2020, so about 4.5 years ago. Most viewed video on my channel has over 200,000 views and has gotten tremendous amounts of support and positive feedback for almost half a decade. But fast forwarding to March of 2025, the world is a little bit different. Times have changed very, very quickly. We have gone through years of craziness since that video has been posted. We have seen wild amounts of geopolitical conflict. We have had month after month after month after month after month of high, scary high inflation. We have had economic retractions. We have had stock market roller coasters, and silver and gold have done quite a bit since I posted that video. Now, 25 ounces of silver. If you don't know what that looks like, don't worry. Everything on display right here is far more than 25 ounces of silver. If my math is correct, I'm pretty sure this is 61.5 troy ounces of silver. If you want to know what 25 ounces of silver looks like, very simple. We'll take these 2 10-ounce bars, and we'll take this 5-ounce bar, and look at that right there. This is 25 ounces of silver. These 3 silver bars right here, 2 of which are smaller than the size of a smartphone, and the other one is even smaller than the other 2. So it doesn't take a tremendous amount of silver. This is what 25 ounces of silver looks like, and a lot of people, with the current spot price, you might be wondering, how much is 25 ounces of silver worth today, and where are you pulling that random 25 ounce number from? Like, what's the significance behind 25? Why 25? What's 25? Well, the reason I mentioned 25 ounces of silver in the first place in that initial video is because there was a study that was conducted, I believe it was back in 2018, 2019, and it was talking about how the average American has less than $500 in savings. The average American would not be able to afford a $500 emergency, whether it be something related to job loss, an injury, car repairs, being behind on an unexpected bill, whatever the case may be. If a $500 bill showed up in every single person's mailbox, a majority of Americans would not be able to pay it. And to me, that's terrifying information. And at the time, mid-2020, the spot price of silver was about $20 per troy ounce. So if you were to take 25 ounces of silver, each of those ounces going for $20, give or take at the time, those 25 ounces of silver would be worth about $500 if you were to measure those troy ounces in currency dollars. So that was my way of putting a spin on what that article was talking about. See, this is a channel that at the time talked almost exclusively about precious metals, but I like to explore all areas of finance. I like talking about business, stocks, real estate. I like talking about CPI reports, JOLTS reports. I'm into that kind of stuff. I like it. I find it interesting, and I like to compare one thing to another and just kind of exchange words around and compare it. Oh, this, well, what if we did it this way? Or what if we measured it that way? I like doing that, which is exactly what I'm going to be doing in today's video. So fast forwarding from the time of that video, when spot price was about $20 an ounce and 25 ounces would be about $500, coincidentally enough to cover that $500 emergency that the majority of Americans would not be able to afford. Fast forward to today. The spot price of silver, as I'm filming today's video, it's about $33 per troy ounce. So if you picked up those 25 ounces of silver 4.5 years ago, fast forwarding to present day, that $500 worth of silver, quote unquote, $500 worth of silver at today's price would be worth $825. Now, I'm not even bringing this up to insinuate that, oh, silver and gold, it's the best investment ever. Silver and gold is something that we're investing in. It's an investment. I personally don't view it as an investment. I view it as a hedge against inflation. And over the last 4.5 to 5 years, we have seen a tremendous amount of inflation. In fact, if you take the purchasing power of the dollar bill 4.5 years ago and compare it to today, where is it at? The purchasing power it had back then compared to where it is now, it's down like 50%. Maybe even a little bit more. Somewhere between 50 and 60% of the purchasing power it had in 2020 diminished by 2025. And it was already weaker than where it started out. See, every year, the dollar bill is supposed to lose purchasing power. Kind of. That 2.5% inflation, that's what's considered ideal. That's ideal inflation. Now, some people might think, well, inflation's a bad thing, period. No, it's not. Inflation should be about 2.5%. The reason for that is because the economy, in theory, should be growing by 2 to 2.5% every year. The problem that we saw, 2020, 2021, 22, 23, the economy wasn't growing. So if the economy is on a standstill while inflation's going up, that's a bad thing. But we weren't on a standstill. We were on a downward slide. The economy was retracting. We were shrinking. We were losing. So the economy wasn't on a standstill with high inflation. The economy was on its way down with high inflation. Even worse. And now here we are, 4.5, 5 years later, the purchasing power of the dollar bill in the last 4.5 years has lost somewhere between 50 and 60%. And if you think about it, it makes sense. $500 worth of goods 4.5 years ago probably would cost you about $825 today, if you think about it. So it kind of adds up. So I was doing the math in my head earlier, and I was like, no kidding. So, coincidentally, the spot price of silver and gold has gone up in the last 4.5 years, and it's almost by the same exact amount that the purchasing power of the dollar bill has lost. Huh. Funny how that works. Now, I remember back in 2021, 2022, when the inflation report, when it was just getting worse and worse and worse, and it was snowballing, it was building. I remember so many people back then, like the second inflation report started coming out high, coming out hot, coming out crazy, and getting worse month after month. I remember so many people reverting back to my videos, being like, hey, you said it was a hedge against inflation. Well, the inflation report just came out 15 minutes ago and spot price of silver did not skyrocket. What are you talking about? It's not supposed to happen like that. That's not the way it works. That's not the way anything works. In fact, I was even saying in those videos, you got to give it time. You got to give it 5 years, 10 years. You got to zoom out. These things are not immediate. And here we are 4.5 years later, and the spot price of silver is coincidentally up about 50%-ish. Well, I mean, going from $20 to $30, right there alone is a 50% jump, and we're higher than that. So we're at probably about 55%, give or take. Going from $20 from that video to about $33 in this video. 4.5 years. About 55%, maybe even 60%. While simultaneously, the dollar bill has lost about 50%, 55%, who knows, maybe even 60% of the purchasing power that it had at the time that I posted that video. Funny how that works. Gold is up as well. By the time you're watching this video, gold recently hit a brand new all-time high. I believe it was $2,979 per troy ounce. Now, I'm pre-recording this video. This video is coming out probably a week or a couple days after I'm filming it. So God only knows what the spot price of silver or gold will be by the time this video is actually posted to the public. But seriously, just think about it for a second. It's almost like a direct reflection. It's almost a mirror image. If you look at a 4.5 year time frame, the dollar bill lost X amount of purchasing power. Meanwhile, silver and gold are up by X amount. It's almost the exact number. It's almost the exact percentage. It's almost as if silver and gold, over a period of time, not immediately, obviously, it's almost like silver and gold strengthen as the dollar bill becomes weaker. And it preserves purchasing power, or it could. So that $500 emergency 4.5 to 5 years ago, in today's dollars, would probably be about an $825 emergency. In which case, if you had 25 ounces of silver today at the current spot price, equating to about $825, you would have enough silver to go to the local coin shop and trade for cash and take that $825 to cover that emergency. The same way I said almost 5 years ago that you can take your 25 ounces of silver in the event of an emergency to the local coin shop, trade it for $500, and cover your $500 unexpected expense. With the same amount of silver. More dollars, but the same amount of silver. That right there is the preservation of purchasing power. Silver and gold have that quality. Silver and gold typically do this, which is why you see a lot of big-time investors, a lot of big-time finance people, the big banks and all those, multi-millionaire, billionaires and whatnot. You see a lot of them move to gold and silver, but for the big, richest people of the richest people of the richest people, the kings of the kings, they typically lean toward gold. The common man, silver, because it's easier to access, but also gold as well. I love gold. I love silver a little bit more. It's my precious metal of choice, but I love both metals. We try to get one or the other or a little bit of both. But the reason the big dogs go for gold, let's not focus on the difference between the two metals. The reason the big dogs move to precious metals during economic hardships is for that reason right there. A lot of these people sell off portions of their businesses, portions of their stock portfolios, if they know that we're going to soon be moving in a downward direction, if they know that an economic recession is on the horizon, or if we're going to be on a standstill, or something's going on, maybe, I don't know, geopolitical conflict. How many big wars are going on planet Earth right now that have been going on for months and months and months, years and years and years at this point? Geopolitical conflict. Not to mention, a trade war is still a war. That's going on right now. Tariffs and the threat of retaliatory tariffs. Inflation lower than where it's been, but we still saw quite a bit of very high inflation for a very long time in the last couple of years. Officially being in a stock market correction, which is defined as a 10% drop from recent highs, which is where we are right now, currently. All of these things taking place right now, or within the last year or two, play a role. So when things like this are going on, the big dogs who have an unfathomable amount of money in their investments take a portion out, they liquidate, they sell off a portion, not all, not most, not a majority, but they take some. They sell off some, and they move that value into gold. They do this for a reason. They've always done this. This has happened every single time. We saw it in 2020, when everything initially collapsed. The COVID crash of 2020. What did we see? Within a couple of months, the spot price of silver in the teens crossed the $20 an ounce mark for the first time in years. And at that point, it essentially skipped the line all the way to $26. I remember every day I was making a spot price video because every day spot price was going up to like a new milestone. Nobody thought it was going to hit $20 an ounce yet. Even myself at the time, I was like, it's possible. I don't think it's going to happen just yet. And guess what? It did. It hit $20 an ounce, which is when I made that initial video. 25 ounces of silver could save your life. Because $20 an ounce silver times 25 ounces of silver is $500, and the average American did not have $500 in savings. And what did we see shortly after? We saw $22 an ounce silver, $24 an ounce silver, $28 an ounce silver. For the first time in years, for the first time that since I've been stacking, I'd never seen those numbers before. I started stacking silver when the spot price was $17 an ounce. And my first full year of stacking, spot price went all the way down to $14 an ounce. And that's when I got a majority of my silver. That's what I was used to. In 2018, 2019, it perked up a little bit. $16, $17, $18, $19 an ounce. 2020, silver got smashed down to $11 an ounce and almost immediately, within like a week or so, climbed its way back up to where it was before it got smacked, $18, $19. And it was kind of teasing us at that $20 mark, $19.92, that area. Wasn't quite hitting $20, and it was getting really close, and I thought there was going to be a pullback before we saw that, and then boom, $20, $22, $24, $26. Why? And gold was reacting in a very similar way. Gold, at that time, there was all this news coming about how gold just hit a new all-time high back in 2020. Gold hit a new all-time high back then. Silver was surpassing the $20 mark for the first time in years and years and years, which was also considered like major news for precious metals. But why were the precious metals on the move? It's because what was taking place at the time? A worldwide health crisis, economic retraction, a stock market collapse, businesses shutting down, everybody losing their sources of income. Nobody was spending any money. Dollar bills were being printed into oblivion, both physically and digitally, by rearranging numbers on a balance sheet, which led to inflation, and stimulus checks, which led to more inflation. So when everything crashed the way that it did, a lot of the big dogs moved to gold and silver. And because of all the precious metal news that was going on, people like me, I was excited about it. People like you were excited about it. That guy over there was excited about it. Her over there, she was excited about it. Everybody was just so excited, and obviously there was a major demand, but the hype created an even bigger demand, and it just went absolutely bonkers that year. But now that the craziness from 2020 settled down, a couple years later, here we are in 2025, we can actually take an objective look at what we've seen over the last 4.5 years and say, okay, this went on, that went on. The purchasing power of the dollar bill has lost about 50%, maybe 55%. And guess what? Silver is up about 55%. Gold is up by, I believe, about 55%. Funny how that works. So coming around full circle here. 4.5 years ago, if you picked up 25 ounces of silver at $20 an ounce, just pretend premiums don't exist for a reason, you have $500 worth of silver. 4.5 years later, with high inflation and everything that we've seen take place since mid-2020, the dollar bill has become about 50% weaker, 55% weaker. Yet silver has become 55% stronger. Funny how that works. Interesting how that works. I find it fascinating. Then again, I'm a numbers guy. I like looking at these things. But I wanted to come out here and I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to share that information with you, and I wanted to give an update on a very impactful video. That video helped a lot of people in 2020. 215,000 views? That's not too far off from 250,000 people looking at that video. Imagine how many people benefited from it. So this is a more modern update, because times have changed. Spot price has changed. Purchasing power of the dollar bill has changed. And I want you guys to let me know in the comments your thoughts on everything covered in the video. If you guys liked today's video, please hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, subscribe to my second channel for bonus videos. Follow me on social media at Mykie DYDSS across all platforms. And of course, the big three. Number one, if you haven't already, try you out some Celsius Energy. That's right, it's a healthier alternative to the other energy drinks out there. You can get a 12-pack variety pack on Amazon right now. I will leave an affiliate link in the description. Two, if you haven't already, get yourself on Webull. Download the app and fund your account. They're going to give you free stocks just for doing so. And it's really easy to navigate on the app, so it's easy for new investors to begin investing. I'll leave a link to this in the description as well. Third and finally, if you need any stacking supplies, whether it be airtight tubes and capsules, anti-tarnish paper, microscopes, mini lock boxes, things of that nature, I will leave affiliate links to those in the description section down below for your convenience. And once again, let me know anything and everything related to today's video topic. Do you like looking at things from this angle? Do you want to see me make more update videos to older videos that I had posted 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago? And talk about how much has changed compared to then to now? Let me know in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you in the next one. Don't you dare stop smiling. Peace.